Hi, everyone. This is Suzanne Spooner, QHHT Level 3 practitioner in Des Moines, Iowa. I want to talk to you today about a very interesting concept of people who don't believe in past lives or are very metaphysically minded, still coming in and having QHHT sessions and having the deep and profound experiences, even though their concepts don't support what most people who experience a QHHT session do. So here is something really interesting. I kind of want to explain what happens in a QHHT session for those who are not metaphysically minded, because it's so equally fascinating. If you think about it this way, we're just, in our day-to-day life, we are accessing both the left and the right sides of our brains at certain times. The left side is known to be, our analytical side. It's where we organize from. It's where we analyze from. It's that stream of thought that we voice, when you're at work or when you have to create a list, balance the checkbook, things like that. It's coming from that left side of the brain. On the left side of the brain is also where we entertain the concepts of fear and worry, though. And that can get us kind of looping into thoughts that, kind of negative self-talk type thoughts that are harder for our support, our self-support, I guess. But anyways, it's a good part. The left side is needed. We need to be able to organize and operate in that analytical way um, lots of times during our day. But on the right side of the brain, it acts differently. This is where we use our creativity. This is where our imagination comes from. Um, when you're daydreaming, you're on that right side. When you're listening to a song that takes you back to another time and place, you're on that right side of the brain. We also talk about our gut, our intuition. It's there on the right side of the brain. Now, interestingly, we're going in and out of both sides all day long, right? Nobody can just stay in that analytical side. So if you're stopped at a stoplight and you're kind of daydreaming and people have to honk to get you to move, you've popped over to that right side of the brain, taking a little break, so to speak. So in QHHT, all we're doing is, as a practitioner, we're guiding you into that right side of the brain. Now, this state is called theta and is understood as a place that all people are at least twice a day, because that is where we're at just as we're waking up in the morning and just as we're drifting off to sleep. So when you're waking up in the morning, you know you're in theta when you're aware that you're not asleep anymore, but you haven't opened up your eyes. The physical sign that we can all relate to with theta is that the body feels very, very heavy. Now, as soon as you open your eyes, you actually go over to the left side of the brain, and that's when you'll start the monkey mind, the how much longer can I lay here? What day is this? What do I have to do? You're starting in on your list and such. But in a QHHT session, you're using a practitioner to get over to that theta state, because when you're there, it's most easiest for you to bypass that monkey mind and access this part of you that knows everything, because we all have it. We all walk around with it, if we're aware of it or not. Sometimes we'll tap into it and we'll call it an epiphany, or you'll be having a conversation with somebody and you're at a loss for words, and all of a sudden you just open your mouth and these golden words, thoughts come through. That's it. That's what we're tapping into. That's all we're doing in QHHT. You're just being guided to that place where you have clear and easy access to that stream of thought instead of the analytical stream of thought. Exact same thing. So people who come for sessions that don't believe in these concepts or don't choose to entertain them are very interesting to me. I love them. They're the business people, or they just haven't, had a reason in their life yet to entertain the thoughts of, metaphysics, I guess. What I notice is they're usually spouses coming with their partners who do believe in these concepts, which is, it's like, oh gosh, this isn't going to be interesting, because I've had two examples of this not too long ago, where the one spouse really gets it as far as understanding Dolores's process and is very into the metaphysical world, and the other spouse kind of gets dragged along to have this experience, and they're kind of like, I don't know why I'm here. I don't know what this is going to be, but they really wanted me to come. And so I have to rework how I explain this to them, which I'm hopefully doing here a little bit. Um, because everybody can access that side no matter what their concepts are. And everybody can find their own answers within and heal their body, even if they don't go with that concept of metaphysics, which is fascinating to me. It's available to everybody. And why wouldn't you want to have the answers to your big life questions or the life scenarios that have been the most challenging, perhaps, or fulfill desires and have more direction in how you can do so? I mean, that's all accessible within yourself. So why not tap into it, right? It's the great consciousness surfing event of your life. So I want to talk to you about these two clients just to show how their experiences went. Okay, so the first one, the husband was really into QHHT and Dolores. The wife was kind of like, man, I don't, I'm just doing this because he wants me to be here, and I don't get this. Um, they were a lovely couple, both from Cambodia. Um, had a pretty thick um, accent to my ears, my American ears. But when she went under, um, it was very interesting. She actually went back to another time. We just call it a story. It doesn't have to be called a past life. It's the same information. So she went back to a story where she was in the early 1900s in America in the South. And when she was there, her voice shifted, which is not totally uncommon with these sessions, and she had a Southern U.S. accent. It was lovely to listen to. It was just so funny because it was so different from her norm. But we went through that life. It was a very interesting life. We heard her listen, or excuse me, she talked about she was eating her pecan pie, and she had a gentleman with her, and just a very sweet, soft Southern accent. But we got to the end of that life, and I took her over as I do back to the spirit side so that we could gather more information about the lessons and the purposes of that story, not life, for her, um, to help her understand why she pulled on that memory. And um, what happened was so fascinating. I love it when this happens. She went to a classroom on the spirit side, and there's just so much information to mine when they go into these classrooms, and I just totally geek out, helping them find, what's important for them to know about that experience. But for her, she was in this classroom that we found out was on the sixth dimension, and that the teacher there was teaching them their how to figure out their no, not soul formula. It was soul formula. Now, I hadn't heard of a soul formula before, so my antenna goes woo, way up. Let's understand this more. So I was asking her questions to ask the teacher who was present. Explain more about what the soul formula is. Now, this is so fun. So we're doing this three-way conversation between the client's subconscious, the teacher, and me. And so as this was going on, I mentioned to her, if you want to, you can just step back and just let the teacher speak through you, and that just might be easier, like a direct connect. And sure enough, the teacher started coming through. Now the voice shifted again. Gosh, it was so lovely. And he says, what do you want to know? I'm like, oh my gosh, I have the best job in the universe. And I'm like, okay, I want to know more about these soul formulas. And he gave this beautiful, detailed information, not only about soul formulas, which I'll make a blog post on coming up, but also about how he was in the position that he was in to teach this class. He said that he came from the 10th dimension, that he didn't need to come down to the 6th dimension anymore, but he really enjoyed helping souls develop their soul formula or discover their soul formula. And he was kind of funny because he said that, this gal had been in the class 3 times and she still hadn't figured it out. And he's not going to just give it to her. She has to figure it out. So it was fabulous. It was a lot of information coming in. Oh my gosh, it was so great. So there's an example. She had no concept of past lives, or she hadn't read any books metaphysically, but she had this very deep and profound experience. Um, Most recently, I had a couple that came. The wife was really into all of this. The husband was not. Now, when he came, he was the second day, she was the first. I asked him, what is it? Why are you here? What do you want from this? And he says, well, my wife says that you're a miracle healer and you can get rid of all this pain that I have in my body. And I said, oh no, that's not this at all. I'm doing nothing, other than just guiding you to the place where you can access your own healing and your own answers. This is a lot of up to you, but let me help you understand how you can do this. He did so well. And now he, like most typically with people that don't believe in past lives, instead of going back to a different time like the other lady did, he stayed in this current life and went back to, I think, 5 or 6 different memories that were real pivotal in his development of shaping him um, to the point where he was at today. And that was, he's very successful. He's very unhappy. And, just kind of trudging through each day, doing the best that he can, but not in, the highest level of joy at all. So beautifully, his subconscious took him back to memories that helped him remember what happened in his childhood that kind of shaped him. Now, he accessed his subconscious beautifully and gave deep and profound information of why each of those memories were so important for him to understand, and shaped his experiences as he became who he is today. Um, and gave great healing of the body. It said, as they say in all of these sessions, his just kind of capped it up really fast. It said, every issue that he's having in his physical body, which was extreme pain and lack of sleep, because of the pain, he doesn't sleep. Um, all of it, it said, was caused in his mind. It's his thoughts that are creating the discomfort within the body. The inability for his body to find alignment was causing the discomfort, and everything was originating in the thoughts. So when I asked for his subconscious to do a body scan, and went straight to the brain and says we've got to rewire these mechanisms of the brain so that he can let go of the stuff that doesn't serve him anymore and focus in more a joyful and a positive way. Said over and over in a session, he just needs to do things that make him happy. He needs to, for him, be out on the water and um, recreate more, be in nature more. Um, all of those things will help support, because what we find in these QHHT sessions with anybody, no matter what their concepts are, is that it's the ideas that loop in the head, usually starting from childhood or even before in other lives, if you entertain those concepts, that create the discord within the body or not. Sometimes everything's in perfect alignment. But anyways, so there are 2 great examples of people who came into sessions, bless their hearts, having not a lot of desire to even understand the metaphysics behind the process of quantum healing hypnosis technique, that had profound and amazing experiences. So, it's just surfing your consciousness to find all the answers, and you carry it within you all the time. And QHHT is just a way, a beautiful, effective way of accessing that information within. And you've got a practitioner sitting beside you who wants to help out and get you there into that space. And when you have somebody, just gently guiding you in there and keeping you in that right side of the brain, oh my gosh, it is mind expanding, it is heart expanding, and it makes life a lot easier after the session. So, anyways, I hope that helps explain why people who don't believe in past lives or are not interested in metaphysical concepts can still have deep and profound experiences with QHHT. And I hope you do, because you have nothing to lose and everything to gain by doing so. Thank you for listening. You can reach me at my QHHT website is Suzanne Spooner, QHHT.com. You can email me at hello@SuzanneSpoonerQHHT.com and find other practitioners that are close to you going to QHHTofficial.com under the Find a Practitioner page. All right. I hope you have a great day. Talk to you later. Bye bye.